coming here. So Nossa Cidade means our town in Portuguese. Yeah, another one, please. There we go. And what we do is to empower small towns, right? And then we come with something like this. Yeah. When we get to a town, what we see it's a lot of people there. We may know somebody there. For example, here, I know Jose, I know Julia, I know Linda, I know some other people. I had some contact before, but these are the people that I would say that I get some more contact, right? And in the small town, the same thing. We get there, and there's all this lot of people, and if we want to empower the town, we have to reach out for them. So we do exactly what I'm doing here, like introduce ourselves and about the organization, what do we do, right? And sometimes they don't understand, and they come and ask something like, oh, so you're coming here to help us get resources from central government, from Brasilia. And this is because that's how people think there in Brazil. That's part of our culture. We have 500 years of culture of waiting for the government to do something to solve our problems, to wait for outside savior, and they never come. There's no savior coming to the small towns. It keeps on the same cycle, and people keep there doing nothing, and that's the main problem. So I tell them, no, you are the resource. You have to do something. Otherwise, nobody is going to do. Right? So for this presentation, for today, I was thinking, and I decided, I said that I'm not doing a presentation. It's not going to happen. Instead, I'm going to invite all of you to play a role-playing game. And, I want to know if, are you game? Do you want to play?
Yes, sir.
Yeah?
Of course.
Okay. It's important, because when we go to the towns, we also make a lot of invitations, and they have to say yes. Otherwise, you can't do anything, right? We're not there to take something for them. We're there to invite them to do something. So that's how we're going to do it. This is the outline. Can you press this? First, welcome to the Global Good Fund View. This is going to be our role playing here. This is not anymore Capital One 360. This is the Global Good Fund View. A small town, we are all the residents, we are the community. First thing we're going to do is meet each other, right? Because if the resources are us, we have to know about us. We know about what are the talents, what are the resources, what things we bring on. Then we're going to dream big together. So I'm going to share with you my dream, and I will ask you to contribute, so that after this meeting here, it's not my dream anymore, it will be our dream. Right? Third, we're going to think about possibilities. I will ask you to brainstorm with me, and we're going to imagine what we can do. And the last point, we're going to do it together as a community, the execution as well. So this will be a role-playing game, but a serious role-playing game. I'm inviting you to be part of what we're doing, and let's see what will happen in this game. So first thing, you might have noticed some yarn, and there's a pen, there is a little gingerbread picture, and this is for introduction. I want you to write your name in this upper part, and then I want you to, while I introduce myself, I want you to also think about these things about you. So first thing, the heart. The heart is the passion. I want to know what's your passion. You can write it down, and I will tell you mine. My passion is first, well, go for the same, but I have two great passions. One is Nossa Cidade, and the other one is my wife here, Linda. And this is a big problem for me because Nossa Cidade is there in Brazil. Linda is from Brooklyn, we live in Queens. So half of the time I'm there in Brazil, half of the time I'm here, and I'm not pleasing anyone. The team in Brazil gets mad with me when I'm traveling here. She complains when I'm getting back to Brazil, and at least I get a place to flee New York in the winter. So, yeah, you can write down. Next one, the hands. I want you to write down your talents. Mine is about dreaming, and then engaging people in this dream. And I'm also pretty good with systemic thinking. Next one, I want you to think about your foundations. And if you can't keep up, there will be time later, so don't worry so much. But about the foundations is what made you the way you are. So in my case, I traveled a lot. It's kind of a hobby. I learned a lot in these travels. My family, my mother, my father, the way they raised me, it's who I am today. They still give me a lot of support. I worked at a consultancy job before becoming a social entrepreneur, and this shaped me a lot. The long hours, all this pressure to handle and the results. In Boston University, that's where we founded Nossa Cidade in 2012, and I was doing their non-profit management MBA, and they were the ones who first believed in this idea and to give me some seed money. So these are my foundations. I would like to know about yours as well. Next one, it's about the book. The book is about the resources you bring. So my greatest resource are my friends. I have a lot of friends all around, and they're really friends, so I can count on them, I can ask favors. And also Nossa Cidade, what I built so far. And then the last one is about the head of the gingerbread figure there. It's the knowledge. What are your knowledge? What are your skills? I'm pretty good with Excel. This data crunching. I am pretty good with public policy and process management, which was what I worked before I became a social entrepreneur. So it's just a little exercise for us to get to know each other. You might have noticed that we have some yarn as well. It's because I want you to, embarrass yourself a little bit. So this is supposed to be a name tag. You can put it in this hole, make a knot, and then hang on yourself. Doesn't need to be now, but just that you know where we are going to. And okay, so nice to meet you, and I hope we have a productive meeting here today. So after we introduce ourselves in the town and we get to know who is who and the person, then we start talking with them about dreams, right? In Brazil, we have more than 5,000 small towns with less than 50,000 people, and this is where 37% of the population lives. So it's a big chunk of people. At the same time, when you look at the social indicators of these small towns, you will see that it's much worse than what is found in the big city. Except for quality of the air and car traffic, all the rest, it's pretty bad, And then you're in a situation that these towns, they're shrinking even more. They're small already, and all the young people, they just try to leave because they don't find any job opportunity, any educational opportunities. And it's very sad because they love the place where they live. You know, so this, you know, what we want to do is a town turnaround, but we want to do with them, because that's the only way that's going to be sustainable. If an outside NGO or the government comes and try to make change for a little bit, but it will all come back to the other state if, you know, there is the people there don't own it. So we want to empower. That's the bottom line for us. And we want to empower people that live in the town. Here I put this picture for you to have an idea of who we are dealing with. In these towns, the average schooling is about 4 years. So the town hall of town council of the place where we did our pilot project, there are 11 elected officials, and they are doing, you know, the laws of the town. Half of them, they have not completed high school. Only one had unfinished college. He did a little bit, he didn't finish. And when I asked, okay, you know, I did a presentation there, I said, okay, can you give me a list of your emails? And they don't use email, you know. They, some of them say, okay, sure, write this down, this is my daughter's email, and she will print it for me, go ahead. And so it's a very tricky reality that we're dealing on in these places, right? We want to empower them so that they can solve their own problems. And the way we found to empower them is through social technologies. Now, social technology here, when I tell people here, they're thinking about Facebook and LinkedIn, these kind of things. In Brazil, our definition is a little bit different. It's a technology that, are you hearing me well in the back? Okay. It's a technology that is very easy to do. It can be replicated, and the people from the town can learn and do it, right? So it can be a product, it can be a method. It's just a way of them knowing this and start using it. I put some examples of social technology here. So this is a solar heating system. It costs only about $100 to make. You can do it yourself. The guy that teaches the workshop for doing it takes 1 day to teach. And then after this, the person can install at their home or their neighbor's home. So it's a great way of income generation. You know, you're creating a new kind of job. You reduce the electricity bill at your home, and also it's good for the environment. So one example of social technology. The same guy is Rafael. Rafael is the same guy that do this first workshop. He also teaches people how to do collect water from the rain in their home. Also very simple, and we've been through a very harsh water shortage in the last year in Brazil. And you know, it's just a great way of saving water and also saving money. And after he teaches people, this is one of his workshops, these people can start teaching other people in their communities, or they can start using this as an income generation way. You know? So this is a very good one. It's a game. I brought it here. That guy over there is Claudio. He's the one that made the game, and he's teaching our team. So he's training the trainers to go to the small towns and teach the teachers or the students how to play. It's a game for environmental education. So you're teaching kids and youth how about the environment in a fun way. It's dragon dreaming. It's another one. So this is Mariana Mayumi. She's a dragon dreaming instructor. And she's teaching this methodology, which is kind of a management for groups, so people can help to design the intervention and achieve the goals. And it's very simple. She's teaching to a cooperative of women that work with garbage, trash recycling. So they sort out the trash and they sell what can be sold to recycling. Their income is like $200 a month on average with this. And Mariana is helping them with this methodology to organize themselves and to reach out for the town. It's a town with 8,000 people, so that they can have selective trash, separate the things. And our expectation is to raise this income to something like $450 per month. This is a participatory diagnosis. It's a method for people to do the assessment in their communities and learn what needs to change. So this one, they choose to do this assessment about children's health, and they went to interview with doctors. They did a survey in the rural area with some photos of them going to the houses and doing the survey. And then they wrote a report. They also looked at secondary data, and they also did some site visits. And then they presented this to the community and discussed with them, okay, this is the situation, pregnant women, they are not doing their checkups. What are we going to do about this? And discussed with people ways to do it, put everything in a report, and gave to the hand of the local government, and also rallied the community for doing something. This guy here was one of the students that took this, participated in this intervention, and he was hired by the local government. So it was really thrilling for us to say, oh, okay, so they recognized him as doing something cool and hired him. This is one of my favorites. This is Oasis. It's a game for civic action. So you get the community together. You start with playing around. So in this first picture, people are invited to go around in the community with a blindfold and trying to notice what's beauty about the place they are, what are the talents, what are the resources. So they come back and they say, wow, I smell cake. So you have there, there's a talent there. Somebody knows how to make cake, right? And then you map this, you start talking with people, knowing their history. There's a talent show there, they display their talents. Then we ask about their dreams, and they say, oh, we wanted this place to have more flowers and things like this. Then we say, okay, let's do it. And this one here, it's about how do you care for this dream. So they're using Play-Doh to make, to design, this will be the new park for the kids. We'll have a bench here, we'll have some play toys here. And then, you invite everybody to work in the weekend in a fun way. You're not inviting people to work, you're inviting people for a game, so it's fun. And we had 150 people there, painting and planting flowers, all the resources the community brought. So it's another one of the social technologies on our portfolio that we take there. Oh, this one I put here because it actually came here from New York. It's an awesome foundation. It's a microbrain arrangement. It's very simple. We put 10 people together, and these people are the trustees. They put $100, and then you have 1,000, and you donate this 1,000 for our awesome project. And I visited them here, learned how, and we opened a chapter there in Brazil. specifically for funding awesome projects at small towns. So there's a lot of complaining always that, oh, okay, but we don't have money, and it's not true. You know, you can find it. So next one, please. So well, now I'm going to give like a general view of how it works. You know, the situation we find is that the local institutions, the town hall, the mayor, you know, small business, non-profits, they're there, but they lack a lot of capacity. So, you know, there's no know-how to do things, but they want to do most of the times. Then the community, as I told, they are, you know, very apathic because of all these cultural things, and they just don't believe they can do anything. Most of the time they are complaining. And then we have these social technology suppliers, which are the people that have expertise on all these technologies I showed you before. Most of the time it's like one person enterprise or a small company or a small non-profit. And they have awesome solutions, but they never get into the small towns. And what we do is, we are a distributor to empower the community with these social technologies. So for the local institution, it's great because, you know, they get know-how to do what they are supposed to do, and they hire us for doing that. That's where we get our sustainability. For the social technology suppliers, it means new markets for them. We also help on this implementation support. And for the community, we try to shake them up, you know, to say, okay, you can do it, and all these technologies, you have to do it. So it's about capacity building and also bringing this civic culture to the towns. So now that you know, we're going to this next part, remember that we talked about the dream, and we're talking now about co-dreaming this dream. You know, this is our next project. How many people here know about community foundations? 2, 3, 4. Well, community foundation is very popular here in the US. You have something close to 900 community foundations in US alone, and another 300 maybe in Canada. In Brazil, you have only 3. It's a very simple concept. It's a foundation from a town or city where people put the money there, in local enterprise, you know, even the government, anybody can put the money there for funding projects in the town, right? And this concept is totally, oh, sir.
Keep on talking.
Okay. So this concept is totally foreign to Brazil, because we're used just to complain and ask the government, you know, to do something. So we tried this up in, oh, thank you, great. We tried this up in our first pilot. It was in 2013. And to finance the intervention, we asked people in the community, well, you know, would you consider donating 10 reais to 100 reais for this project? And we got a buy-in, you know, people did want to, and we got like 1 year of program with around 25 people donating something like this. Then we did some research here with the Brazilian expats. So there's 1 million Brazilians here in the US. And the interesting thing about the immigrancy is that while the person brings its culture, there is some things that they absorb from the country that is receiving them, right? So typical example is when you have natality rates of 3 or 4 children per woman in a country, and when they move to the United States, just like magic, it drops to around the average in US. So we believe that this also happens with the attitude of people, of Brazilians living here about donating, about philanthropy. And that's what we want to do. We want to create, bring this technology to Brazil, community funds, to finance the social technologies and have the following deal with the community. If you raise $1, we will raise $1 with Brazilian expats in the United States. And the thing about the Brazilian expats is that we're raising the dollar for the home of that guy. We're asking the person that is from the community of the small town to pay it back. So I just keep imagining, like, if your old high school teacher asks you for money for an educational project in your high school, there is no way you're going to say no. There's no way. So I think it makes sense. It's still like in the dream stage, and that's what I want to invite you to dream with me and to think about how we can pull this off and start this process. So I've given you one two-pager about Nossa Cidade and the Community Foundation with some very basic information. And if you look at the other side of the gingerbread little guy there that you introduce yourself, you will see some questions as well. So I want you to right now take a few minutes, like 1 minute, to check it out. What's your expertise? What do you feel more comfortable in these areas? And then we will start our role playing as a community.